And we're live. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Art of Life with Angela Hardy. And today we're talking to Nianell. Some of you might know her as Nianell. She's actually, I have used her music in my studio for many years. She's a very, very fabulous artist. She does beautiful work, but she's not only a musician. She works with people to help them to find their life's purpose, to find happiness, to find joy. And so today's session is not so much an interview with Sonia, but more about us chatting about some of the things that we have found in our own path, that we found with working with clients, that we think are those things that are like the little essences of the life hack of how to have a good life, how to experience your life in a happy way, to be in flow, to be in an experience of I like life, I do life, and I like life, and it's worth having. So this is what today's session is all about. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you so very much. Really love chatting to you, and specifically about life. I mean, yes, it's supposed to be fun. So thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure. We were doing a session together, actually, Sonia and I. We were doing some work together. She came to float at my flotation center, and we were having this. Did you love it?
I love it.
Super cool chat, and we were just talking about all the things that we'd learned and all the wonderful aspects of life and how we had this experience of doing better. And so I thought, well, this would be really cool for us to talk about today. But to start us off, check this out. Sonia's written a beautiful book. It's called Life Simplified, and I've been reading it, and it is delightful. It is so it's short and it's sweet, and it's just a little soupçon of some of the stuff that she works with her clients. So I was just asking you earlier, but why don't you tell the people that are listening how you came to writing the book?
It's a great passion of mine to simplify things. I think because I've become aware of how our brains really like to complicate things, and I don't know about you, but my brain loves complicating things. The most simple things in life just becomes quite complicated. So I've seen a lot of clients, and when they come to me, it takes me about 20-30 minutes in the session just to kind of give them a different perspective. So I thought, you know what, this really helped me. This was a great guide for me to simplify things in my mind and just to take control and not feel like a victim, not like life is happening to me. So I decided to just like you can see, there's a lot of blank spaces in that book as well, pages, which I say is my favorite pages, because life is meant to be simple and we complicate it. So there's a couple of guidelines there that will just assist people to simplify things that we've been taught. Like I told you, we've been so domesticated and we've learned so many things. Even the minute that we're born into this plane of existence, we inherit the consciousness of the planet, and the society and the religions. And so I believe that this life is generally basically a journey of unlearning. So this book kind of just helps you to, get a different perspective of everything that you've been taught, and a guide to help you unlearn it very, very easy, effortlessly, and then just stare into a new blank canvas where you can create anything that you can imagine.
Well, I love what you say about unlearning, because I have to say that if there's one thing that I have to do with all of my clients, and that I had to do with myself in my journey, it was actually quite a revelation to me, was I had to unlearn. It wasn't, we spend so much time pursuing becoming more, doing better, being better, proving ourselves, showing up, making more money, trying to let people know that we're awesome. And it doesn't do the job that we're looking for it to do, which is give us that good feeling inside and let us really enjoy our life experience.
I wish when I was lying on your massage bed that day that I had a little recording device, because, I think I asked you, how did you uncomplicate things? How did you make it easier? And then you gave me this answer that was just, I should have recorded it. It was just so amazing. But it was the same thing you said about just unlearning.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually done some videos about this on my YouTube channel that just talk about the things that I had to give up to love myself. And you would think, oh, well, those would be tough things, you know what I mean? But they're actually I have to give up things like trying to prove myself. I have to give up things like worrying about what other people think about me. I have to give up things like thinking that I'm not okay as I am. I have to give up the beliefs that hold me down and keep me locked in this idea that there is something more required of me before I'm allowed to love myself and
I
feel as
love
though I'm a
that.
human being.
I love that you say that, because I think all of us kind of think there's more expected of us, or we have to reach some place where we're going to now be acceptable. For many years in my life, this is what I chased. I thought, okay, I have to first of all, my big journey was, I really just wanted to save my mother. She was my best friend in the whole wide world, you know, and I just saw daily that she wasn't happy, and somehow that little girl in me got the idea that it was my job to save my mother. And so one way that I thought I could do this is if I could become very famous and very wealthy and very rich, then I can, you know, I can help her. But it was also a journey for myself. You know, I thought people will love me more and accept me more, or see me and hear me, because I was sort of invisible, you know, when I was a child. And and I remained sort of like, even if the world was seeing me, I still felt invisible, like no one sees me. And when I finally got it, that I am the one that needs to see me, I'm the one that needs to hear me, and my mom doesn't need saving, I'm the one that needs saving, you know. So
Exactly.
I've achieved great success, and great wealth. And from my perspective and my experience, I can honestly tell you that those things doesn't fulfill you, and it's not. I thought I was going to be satisfied, but there was always this feeling like I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. You know, I haven't reached that place yet. And you
Yep.
know what, Angela? I can tell you something from the bottom of my heart. I'm there. And
Oh,
I didn't get there because of the fame and, you know, the success and the money. I got there when I started letting go of all the attachments and all those things, and started looking within, and basically unlearning, like you said. But that kind of peace, that kind of joy, that love is within us in any case. And so, I mean, I did search a lot out there, and I studied many
all
things and learned a
right.
lot of things. And the more I learned, the more I realized I don't know anything. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I just want to be in this moment, in this present moment, feeling what I'm feeling, which is absolute bliss. I feel such joy, especially today. You know, I don't feel it every day,
No.
but the thing is, today I feel really, really good. And when I have a day where I feel really, really good, I kind of just want to just bathe in it and just sit with it, and you know, and then I remind myself in the days that I'm not feeling so good, that it's okay, this too shall pass, and I know that the joy is within me, you know. It's a
Mm.
gentle reminder every day to just go within and connect with everything that's already within you.
Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, when I speak to people, often we have this understanding that happiness lies within, right? We see it on all the YouTube posts, or the Facebook posts. We see it all over the place in little snippets. Happiness lies within. And I always have this huge laugh with my clients because I'm like, I know you want happiness. And we know because we've been told that happiness lies within. But we also have this experience that's like, where the hell is it? You know what I mean? If I go down, why can't
Where
I feel
exactly?
it?
Here.
Yeah, yeah, where do I look within? Because what we're mostly feeling in is desperateness and grasping, and a lack of acceptance, and not enoughness, and shame and fear and anxiety and depression and fatigue, but not happiness. And the
And you
truth
know,
of the matter is that it is within.
it
It's
is
just
within, but I love that you say it, when you see all these posts, and we all know it's within, but how do you get to that?
time to
And
get
and
to that.
and here's what I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
How to get to it is to be in a full acceptance of what is.
Yes.
I truly find that that's how I get to it. It's
Yes.
when I'm still needing an answer, or I need to understand something, or I want to figure something out, you know, or I want to change something, or I'm still resisting something that keeps me on the outside. It's when I go, okay, I'm in full of acceptance, and that parts of you that you said that isn't that easy to accept, that shame, that guilt. I find that when I sit with that within me and I go, you know what, that's okay. That's okay. All right, I've just like lost it a little bit, maybe over there with my children, and you know, who was that? It's okay. It's okay. You know, it's all right. I love you still. It's okay. You know, and I find that when I fight those parts where I'm not perfect, when I resist those parts when I'm not perfect, that's what keeps me on the outside. But when I go, it's okay, you know, so I did that, or I said that, or I lost my temper again, or I went completely out of balance. And even if that happens every 5 minutes and I feel like I can't get it right, I can't get this life right, I can't get it, then I'm going like, it's okay. You don't have to get it right. Just like, let's just be in this moment, and let you and me just be together. It's okay, you know. And when I started practicing that, how much easier does it get, you know, because I'm not chasing that perfection anymore, or that idea of myself. And the truth is, none of this is really me, you know. That judge within me and that victim within me, you know, it's not who I am. So I'm always just reminding myself, you're love. Yeah, for a moment you went into the judge there, and for a moment you felt like a victim, and that's okay. That's okay. But that's not who you are, you know. So let's just love them. Let's just love those parts of you, because they need something, you know. And then I always ask myself, what do you need? So the other night I was actually rehearsing for a little performance, and my beautiful man and I'm rehearsing together, and I'm practicing teamwork. It's not my strength, you know, but it's a great desire in me. And so he only started playing bass like last year. And I mean, I've been a full-time musician for like 25 years. And so my levels of patience is, you know, we need to get this right. I don't want to play this song 10 times. I know it, you know. And so I was getting tired, and the more tired I was getting, the more grumpier I was getting. And then go, poof, you know, I'm like, oh, can't do this now. Yeah. And it's like, you know, and everything and you can't take it back. And then I sat for a little minute, and I said to myself, I said, what do you need right now? What is it that you need right now? And I just needed to rest. I was just tired. And so, you know, I just said, I can't rehearse right now because my body is tired, my mind's tired, I'm tired. I'm like a little 2-year-old. I'm just tired, you know, and I can't do this right now. I just need a rest. And so we just stopped, and we didn't. Yeah. And so we just went to bed, and then we did the show, and we didn't rehearse again, and he was perfect. And the thing is that I think we put so much pressure on ourselves, and when we lose ourselves, just say, what do you need in this moment? And I just needed to rest. Sometimes we just need to be hugged. Sometimes we just need to be told that someone loves us. But here's the thing. If we need the outside world to give us what we need, we're always going to feel like, you know, unsatisfied. So in that moment, I had to give myself what I needed. You see, I was sitting there for his sake. And I was sort of sacrificing myself for his sake. And in that moment, I just said, what do you need? Well, I need to go and rest right now. If you don't know the song, it's like, that's your business. You know? And so I always ask myself, what do I need in this moment? Especially if someone's triggering me, then I will say, okay, what do I need from you to feel better within me? And then when I've established what I need from them, I start giving it to myself, you know, because quite often what we expect from other people, they can't even give it to us. They don't even have it to give to us, you know.
So they don't even know that we need it, you know.
Exactly. They don't know what we need.
Intention is good, even if they want to look after us and be caring of us. They can't read our minds.
And another thing is, if you can't give it to yourself yet, you won't be able to receive it from another person, because you don't know how to receive that yet, whatever it is that you need, you know. So only once you can love yourself will you truly be able to feel another person's love for you. Only once you can truly accept yourself and be with those terrible parts in you that you think is terrible, but they're not terrible. They're actually wonderful. They're just so wonderful, you know. In the last couple of months, I had moments where I could feel my mom so strongly. She passed away in about 9 years now. And I could feel her terror within me. Like I would be terrified about something, but then it feels to me like I'm a mom. And when I lose my temper, I would feel my dad in me, and I was like, this feels like my dad. And instead of like rejecting it, I just brought it closer, and I thought, wow, I have such a compassion for them right now. I could really feel my mom's terror and her fear, and I can really feel my dad's shame and guilt whenever he loses his temper. And then I just love that part. I just love that part in me, because it's in me, because I am my mother and I am my father and I am you. And what I love about you is what I love about me, and what I resist in you is what I resist in me. So better just to get to that place where we stop resisting it and just love it, just accept it.
Yeah, I must say that it's very difficult for people to not to understand I have to love myself first before others can love me, because we all have heard that a million times. So we do know that that's true. But people find it very difficult to love themselves. I have experienced many, many times how strongly people can really hate themselves and dislike themselves and feel guilt within themselves and shame within themselves. And that's part of where we started originally in this conversation, was the letting go is the only way to get past that. And we have to let go of the things that we believe to be true in relation to those feelings. So if you think, for instance, that guilt, this is very common with guilt. If you think, for instance, that guilt is at least showing that you care. So let's say I didn't do something that I was supposed to do, or I've shown up in a way that I don't approve of, or I don't like. At least if I feel guilty, then I know that I'm still a good person. This is like one of the most common reasons why people hold guilt. You know what I mean? At least if I feel guilty, then I know that I'm a good person. And it's like, it's such a waste of energy, because
It really is.
you either know you're a good person or you don't know a good person. You don't have to have all of this expression of guilt in order to know this thing. But unless you're willing to let go of the guilt, you'll never feel that sense of self-love, because you'll always be looking at yourself as not okay. So I have to be bad. I have to feel bad about myself. I have to feel guilty about myself in the way that I behave. So every single experience that we have that keeps us locked into this lack of self-love comes from, firstly, a misunderstanding of the mind. How am I creating this in myself? And it speaks always to this inside-out experience. We feel like the world comes from the outside in, but we're actually generating our emotional experience from the inside out. And the only thing that the world is doing to create that is saying, hey, do you want to think about it? And we're going, hell yes, and it's not going to be good. So when we keep doing that, creating this experience from the inside out, we have to start to look to what is this inside. And my experience of it is, firstly, you have to notice that you're doing it. And secondly, you have to look at the things that you believe to be true and that you're holding on to in order to try and create this happiness in this life that you want, that are not serving you. Control.
So let me just understand that. You said, first of all, it's the awareness
First of all, it's the
that I'm
awareness.
doing that. And what's the second part?
The second part is that to start to understand the belief systems that you hold about
Behind that, yes.
how you have to be and who you have to be and how you have to behave and how it actually works. Because I found in my work that more than anything else, the things that we do to try and save ourselves are the things that are the trap that keep us stuck. So for instance, if I believe that I'm not okay unless you love me, or unless things go according to plan, or unless I am successful in some particular form or way, if I believe that's true, then I have to go to the outside experience and I have to try and control that experience to make you love me, or something to show up in a particular way, or some outcome to be particular. And if that belief holds true, then when you don't love me or that thing doesn't show up in that way, I have to, by extension, feel unhappy.
Yeah, it just proves what I already believe.
The very thing that I'm trying to use, controlling you, trying to make, trying to adjust myself so you'll love me, trying to pretend that I'm somebody else so that you'll love me, trying to fake my way through what I think it is that you need from me, or what I think it is that you want from me, or how you want to see me. Trying to fake my way through that doesn't give me satisfaction, because I still don't know that you love me. And so that I stay trapped in that experience of not feeling loved or not feeling enough, because I'm using something that cannot work for me to do the deed.
Yeah.
And so the very first thing we have to do is start to see, oh, I'm doing this thing to myself. All of my feelings are being generated by myself, within myself. I'm doing that. And even though my brain is conning me and trying to convince me that this experience is coming from the outside in, from what you say, from what you do or don't do, from my experience of money, from my experience of success or lack of success, from failure, from fear, from whatever is going on, it feels like that's where my emotional experience comes from, but that's not where it comes from. And it's only in the understanding of where it comes from that we can start to be free of it.
And you know, that takes a lot of courage to get to that place where you take responsibility for the creation that is, you know, that is being presented to you. Because we love to go like, no, that's your fault, or it's because you do that that I'm feeling like this, or, you know, there's always the enemy. And something that I've learned in my life is there is truly no enemy. There's only one ultimate power, and that is the source, the God within you, the you know, the unconditional love within you. And the idea that there is something we have to conquer, overcome, or, you know, become, that is what separates us from this. And that's what we then think is, that's when we feel separated, and that idea that we have to conquer an enemy. So for me, I truly love this little thing that I had a dream one night, and how I was shown that I am truly every human being on this plane of existence. And it was such a phenomenal dream, because when I look at people, I know I'm looking at a part of myself, and they've just, for that moment.
Oh, we've lost her. Okay, well, she'll be back in a second.
Came into my experience.
Oh, there you are. Wait, sorry, we lost you for a moment.
So whether that part is amazing and beautiful, or whether they're showing me a part that I'm uncomfortable with, you know, that I don't like, I don't think, and I think our minds are so has been taught to go, like, you know, when you meet someone and something triggers you and you just don't like them, your mind is immediately going to, oh, there's an evil, or that person's bad, or, you know. But the truth is so when that happens to me, I'm always going, oh, that's an interesting new little part that I haven't seen of me yet. You know, let me get a little closer and just get to know that a little bit better, and just understand it a little bit better. And sometimes that need to understand, it takes me on this spiral all the way down to not feeling very good until I go, okay, I don't need to understand it anymore. It's okay. I'm just going to accept that it's there, you know, and then you feel
just acceptance.
just acceptance. I love what you said about, you know, this loving ourselves. In truth, Angela, I mean, do you think that we ever completely fully get there? I feel it's like a journey, you know. Some days I love myself a lot more and accept myself a lot more than other days. And then there's some days that you know, I can feel that I'm out of alignment with myself. I'm you know, I'm struggling a little bit with myself. And those days I really have to just be there for myself. So I don't know, maybe we can wax it in this lifetime. Maybe we can say, I'm doing it. I love myself. So for me, it's a journey of loving myself, accepting myself. I think I'm going to be completely dishonest if I tell you that I do love myself wholeheartedly and completely, and that I accept myself wholeheartedly and completely, because there's so many parts of me that I haven't met yet. You know, that I told you, every time I meet a new person, I'm being introduced to a part of myself that I haven't met yet, you know. And so I think it's a journey of just continuing to meet myself and experience myself through everybody. And then it's a process of, okay, I love that part too. Okay, I accept that part too. You know, it's an ongoing journey. What do you think? Do you think it's possible to just get to that place where you're like, I've waxed it, I am now the ultimate being. I love and accept myself. Well, what do you think?
I think it's a definition issue really, because when you started and you said, can you ever really truly love yourself? And then you said, well, some days I love myself in that I have a sense of myself that is worthy and valuable and awesome. And then some days I have a sense of myself that's not. And on those days, I just have to be kindly with myself. That is actually how I would define the ultimate self-love. So it's not that when I say self-love, I'm not saying that it's about always thinking well of yourself, because you're a human being, and quite frankly, you're not perfect and you never will be perfect. And so there's no chance that you'll always feel well about yourself, because sometimes you're a real schmuck. You're an idiot and you behave badly, and frankly, you just need a good club to bring you right sometimes. That's the truth of being human. There's no getting around the fact that we have this massive conditioning that is always pushing our buttons and being there. But what you said right at the beginning is exactly the thing. When I love myself, I can see I'm being a schmuck.
Yeah, you're in awareness.
And I can be kindly accepting the fact that, wow, I was really a schmuck in that moment. I'm not going to go into self-hatred. I'm just going to go into it would be really useful if I could learn how to not be such a schmuck.
Exactly.
So
I
I'm
love
not
that.
talking about a sense of perfection or a sense of a place where we get to where we are more than what we are. And that's really the biggest and actually possibly the most important thing. Learning to love yourself is not about becoming a better person. It's not about that, because you've tried that before, right? It didn't work, because you will never be better enough. That goalpost will move and move and move, no matter how more gracious you become, no matter how calm you become, no matter how rich you become, no matter how successful you become, the goalpost will always move, and you'll never have that sense of yourself that says, I'm okay with this. Loving yourself is about saying, you know what? There's some things about me that are fabulous. There's some things about me that are terrible. And there's a whole lot in between. And I am going to accept those things in the most gentle, calm, and loving manner
I
towards
love that.
the humanness of me that is possible for me. So in that regard, in that definition, is it possible to really truly love yourself? I think categorically,
Yes.
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 Categorically.
So no, I agree with you, and I love how you say it's not an end destination. It's actually just a journey. It's not some destination that you have to arrive at and say, okay, now I have achieved the perfection of loving myself. It's actually in this journey of traveling through, life. I am continuously focused on being in awareness of all parts of me, and so that I can adjust what needs to adjust, but always be in the loving and acceptance of whatever part that is. And I think I love that I've studied many courses, and one thing that I have noticed about many people when they start a new course, for instance, the modality that I teach as well, theta healing, we do work a lot on the subconscious beliefs. And in the beginning, when you start becoming aware of all the limiting beliefs that you have, then you just want to kind of clear all of them. And I've watched, I went to America for 2.5 months when I did the instructors, and I saw, and me myself, we have this need to just clear it all so that we can then just now start, or begin. And then I realized that's never going to happen. The goal shouldn't be to get to some place, because I think a lot of us in life thinks we first have to do this before we can start living, or I have to first reach this goal weight before I buy myself that dress, or I first have to clear all these limiting beliefs before I can be happy, or I must first be completely healthy before I can be a healer, or I need to first be wealthy before I can teach people how to work with money. And what I've realized is you're okay just the way you are right now. You should do what you want to do right now. Be that healer if it's your desire to love and help people. Teach people about money if you have knowledge. You don't have to be wealthy. If you have some stuff that you want to share, and so that end destination, that place where we first want to get to, I realized we are eternal beings. That means we are eternally continuing, and we will never get there. And we will never get there. We will never be done, but we can feel whole right now in this moment. And so if we just focus in this present moment, be present in this moment, and be in full satisfaction and acceptance of this moment, that is where the happiness is, right here, not there. It's right here in this moment. And again, that acceptance. If you can accept this moment and allow this moment to be with you, I think that's a great key to happiness.
Well, that's why the art of it all is not so much loving yourself, but loving yourself unconditionally.
No matter the conditions.
It's the conditions that are the problem. It's the conditions that keep you from being there. First this, then I'll be able to love myself. First this, then I'll be able to love myself. Maybe if you love me, then I'll be able to love myself. It's the conditions that are the problem. But it's like kind of, if you think about your favorite pet or your child even, we'll do a pet. Pets are so easy. They're so unconditional. I love my cat.
Me too. I love your cat. You have a beautiful cat.
I love my cat, right? She's amazing.
I do. Yeah.
When my cat is vomiting on the floor, I still love my cat.
Yes.
When my cat is scratching at my furniture, I still love my cat. I don't want my cat. I don't appreciate her behavior. I don't appreciate having to clean up the vomit or the fact that she's trying to scratch my furniture. But I still love the cat because I don't have a condition that says, you know what, I'll only love the cat if she's a perfect cat that never scratches the furniture, never vomits on the floor, never begs me for food when I'm trying to eat my dinner, never jumps on the table and steals the whatever off the table, never does what cats do. I say to myself, I have cats, and I have decided and chosen and committed myself to loving the cat. And so I open my heart and I love her anyway. And that is what unconditional self-love is also. It's that I don't wait for myself to not vomit on the floor and then say, okay, now you're acceptable, or not scratch the furniture, and then say, okay, Angie, you're acceptable because you didn't scratch the furniture.
Yes.
I say, even when I vomit on the floor and even when I scratch the furniture, metaphorically speaking, I choose this way of opening my heart to you, which is, so if I can always open my heart to myself in the way that I do with my cat and with my friends and with my friends' children, I don't require my friends to be perfect. Who does? I don't have any perfect friends. And I don't require them to be perfect to love them.
Yeah.
And I love them when they're big, and I love them when they're stupid, and I love them when they are bitchy, and I love them when they, had too much wine, and I love them when they don't want to drink wine, and I just love them. How do I do that? I don't do it through their perfection. I don't do it because they've somehow managed to find this thing within themselves that is magical or perfect or beautiful or even necessarily that loving. I do it because there's enough about them that I choose to open my heart. That's unconditional love. And where I see so many people who are very capable of doing that for their kids and very capable of doing that for their husbands and very capable of doing that for their pets, but find it impossible to do it for themselves. Because their requirements for themselves are different. They don't give.
It's a little higher, maybe even.
Right.
My friend, I have a friend that is like a dear friend, and she's been helping me with my children. As you know, I have triplets, and so when they were 1.5 years old, I was very overwhelmed because I was the breadwinner. I did like 110 shows a year, albums, books. It was a really hectic time. So this friend of mine came. She was a headmaster at a school in Cape Town, and so she came to help me with the children. And she also homeschooled them till now. Next year they'll go to a high school, but she's been homeschooling them, and she has an incredible unconditional love for me. And actually yesterday we spoke about it, and she says, it's so easy for me to love every part of you. And just accept you just the way it is, you are. And then I said to her, yes. And then, but you first got to love yourself that way too. It's important to love yourself. And then the question was, well, why is it so easy to love you than me? Then I said, because your expectations is on yourself much higher than what you expect of me.
You're comfortable with my schmuckness. You're just not comfortable with your own.
Exactly. You accept my smugness, but you're just not happy with your. I love that.
And if
And
you
that's
could be okay with your own schmuckness, we'd just be schmucks together and everything would be groovy.
It'll be fine. Yes, I think we have very, very high expectations of ourselves. And I think it's an important thing is to ask, where did these expectations come from? You know, who made us feel that we first have to reach this level of perfection before we will be acceptable? And it's usually those first two role players in our lives, you know, your parents. I always tell people, for me, it feels like there's two sides of it. You either feel like you're too good or you're not good enough, you know, like there's like you know and I was that one that was too good, you know. Okay, Sonia, just hold back a little bit, just shine a little less so that others also get a chance.
Yeah.
Just tone it down a little bit. And then there's those ones that's just never good enough, nothing they do is ever good enough. So see which one of the poles you are. But in that moment when we feel that, when someone makes us feel we're either too much or not good enough, and the minute you attach to that, the minute you own that, um, and you believe that, that you're either not good enough or, you know, whatever you are is just not right. Whenever you believe that, that's when you've become guilty of not being worthy anymore. So for me, the place to go to is see, where did I become guilty of not being worthy, of not being just right, just perfect as I am.
Well, I think that's interesting because I think it is useful to see where it came from, but I don't think it's nearly as useful as knowing it doesn't serve me anymore.
And more important, yes.
Right? So, in the moment that somebody gave you an experience or you had an experience with somebody and you had this thing that then internalized as I'm not enough, you internalized that. You made that up. You made it up from the experience and how you made sense of that experience in your attempt to have this feeling inside of you that felt good. Something about that experience didn't feel good, so you said to yourself, oh, this is how the world works, this is how I have to behave. But the problem is not so much that it happened or that you had an experience or who the person was or what the experience was, although it can be very helpful to help you to unravel it. The problem is you still believe it.
Yeah, you attach to it.
You were 5, you made that thing up. You were 2, you were 7, you were 10, you were 15. Now you're going on 100 and you still believe it to be true. That's the problem. And you believe it to be true because it's been settled in the unconscious mind. You're not even aware necessarily that you're holding the belief. All you know is the symptom that you feel as a result of the belief that you have. So you busy come, I mean, that's what your clients come to you with, is what my clients come to me with. They come to you with these symptoms. They say, I suffer from anger, depression, unhappiness. I don't feel good enough. I feel unworthy. I have a lack of confidence. I don't love myself. I'm stressed. So this is all the symptom of this underlying belief. Somebody somewhere did something, had an experience with them, and I internalized that to mean what I am in this moment is not enough and I will never do enough. And so I've got to do X, Y, and Z. And then we pursued it all, kept having these symptoms, and kept trying to address the symptoms. You don't need to address the symptoms. The symptoms are irrelevant. They're just a pointer that says, hey, there's something going on down here.
Yes.
Where you got it from doesn't really matter if you can see that it's not serving you.
And for me, the important part is in that journey. You called that experience in because you wanted to learn something. You wanted to learn something. So when I look in my own life at it, you know, the first thing I ask myself is that what did I need in that moment? I needed to be accepted just the way I am, for instance. I just needed them to, you know, love me and accept me just the way I am, not try and change me. And then I will ask myself also, what did I want to change about those people? You know, like what did I want to change about my mother or my father or whoever made me feel that way? And
Just
then I know.
everything.
But then I realized what I wanted to change about them is the very thing I have to change about myself. And I've learned that we can very easily and effectively let go of these beliefs when we know what it teaches us. The minute we understand what it is that we're learning from, what I need to learn to give to myself and what I need to change within myself, Just like that. The minute you understand the lesson, your heart fills with a thankfulness for that person. And by the way, that is what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not you just walking around saying, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. You cannot truly forgive someone when you don't understand the lesson in that experience. And if you do not embrace that lesson, once you know what someone has taught you, your heart truly fills with a thankfulness for them. From there on, when you think about them, you will never be triggered again once the lesson has been learned. You know, forgiveness is truly the gift we give to ourselves. It's us freeing ourselves from the negative emotions. But for me, the minute you understand what it was that I was meant to learn in that situation about myself and what I needed to learn to give to myself and what I have to look within myself to better or change, you know. So then thinking about them is just a matter of, I'm so thankful for you. Thank you for teaching me that. Thank you for helping me get to this place where I can, you know, expand and learn and become more, you know. So for a long time, my mom loved me and adored me, you know, but she was the one that made me feel that I am a little bit too much, you know, and because she just wanted to have the balance in the house, it was like, okay, you just hold a little bit back. So it became sort of my job to keep the peace, and how I had to keep the peace was to become smaller and smaller and smaller. And so I when my mom passed away, for me, it was an incredible moment, because you see, secretly and deep down, I was waiting for my mom to give me the permission to be me now. You know, it's okay, it's safe now. So you can be now. You can be all that you are now.
Okay.
But then she died, and I was like, you know, and for a while I was so lost, because I didn't even know why I was so lost until I understood that I was still waiting for her permission to be me, you know. And so when I understand the lesson and I understand what she was teaching me, that no one can give you the permission to be you except you, you know. And once I understood the lesson, I was free. I could forgive her. I could forgive myself. You know, my dad taught me many other lessons, you know, and so the minute I understand the lesson, the forgiveness comes easy. And I find that lately, mainly I do forgiveness work for myself, because I'm now the one that continues to put those rules and domestication and being the judge, and you know, I'm now not so much fazed about the world outside, because I know I'm doing it all to myself. But then you get to that place of, why am I doing all of this to myself, you know? And then and then I'm like, okay, then you have to forgive yourself. It's like, you know, there's always a reason for these things. And I think it's truly just to learn these beautiful, magnificent lessons. Once the lessons learned, the pain stop. Once you have truly learned the lesson with anything in your life, the pain stops. There's just a gratefulness, just a thankfulness to your wonderful teachers, you know.
Yeah, when I speak of it, I always speak about the misunderstanding that we've created within ourselves around the experience. So it's
Nice.
great to hear it's the same thing, but from the point of view of like, how do you learn the lesson from that experience? I always say, well, we have learned something, and the thing that we've learned is not serving us. So now you need to learn something new. You have
Yes.
to re-experience that. You have to almost re-adult that experience in a way that says, well, if I look at it from here, what do I see now? And what is the new learning that I can have that frees me up from what I used to think I understood about that experience? So,
Nice.
like
Yes.
with your experience, when your mother said, be smaller, be smaller, be smaller, that taught you something about how to be okay, how to be loved within your family. It taught you something about your bigness not being okay. It taught you something about who you had to be in order
To
to
fit
be
in and
magnificent,
belong.
to fit in,
Yes.
to be loved, to be accepted within your family, to be able to be the savior of your family, which was so important for you to be. It taught you something, and when you understood it to be true, it hurt you. It stopped you from being able to be the big self that you are. And it was only when you relearned that lesson, oh, that actually is no longer true for me. It probably was never true. It was just my mother's belief that my sister needed me or my brother needed me, whoever it was in your family. Somebody in your family needed you to be smaller. They did not need you to be smaller. They needed to find their true selves as well. And this belief that you needed to be smaller in order for somebody else to be themselves, that's a very, very hard lesson. You know what I mean? And to me, it's a very incorrect lesson, but it's a very hard lesson to say you make somebody else less than what they are.
Yes.
That's a terrible thing to have understood. To have misunderstood.
And when you're little, I mean, it's really big, because and for me, it's wonderful that it's been really truly one of my biggest lessons, because we do not serve anybody when we play small. But I could see in my home, my father just the light in me, just just who I am. I didn't even have to do anything. It triggered him, and my mom could see that. So she wanted to just keep me safe. So I understand that. But these lessons that we come in, and I believe we create them ourselves, is to get to that place where I am finally in the world, truly, fully allowing myself to shine as brightly as I can, because I had some really tough audiences, in my family, where my light would just upset people, and I experienced it throughout my whole life because I believed it. I believe deep down that who I am will trigger people. It will just upset them, and because I believed that, I create many experiences in my life where people were just triggered by my beingness. I didn't even have to say anything,
well, the proof proves what the believer believes, isn't it? So you're always looking to find that truth.
Exactly.
And it's not necessarily that that's any more true for you than anybody else. It's just that you noticed it more.
I noticed it.
You said, oh, that's because I'm too big. Anything that anybody was responding to, it was like, oh, that's because I'm too big.
Exactly.
So you make the meaning, and then with the meaning, you go and look for proof of that meaning. Oh, that must be because I'm too big. Oh, they're grumpy. That must be because I'm too big. Oh, they're bad, or that must be because I'm too big. They don't like me. That must be because it could have been anything.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily that I was conscious of it was too big. I was thinking there's just something about me that ticks people off, and I think a lot of these things are also unconscious or in the subconscious, where you don't even know that you believe them. You're just experiencing, you just feel people are just ticked off with you. Now I'm looking back and I can understand it was because of a belief system deep inside me that I wasn't conscious of. And that's what I loved when you say, first of all, you need to become aware. And the awareness is truly the beginning of change. You cannot change when you're not in awareness of what is going on. So my awareness, it took some time to become aware, because you're just like, I'm the victim. You're doing, all of you just like hate me, and I don't even do anything. I'm just so cute and adorable, and you just, and you just hate me. And so when I became aware of the fact that there is a belief system in me that believes or that thinks that who I am will trigger other people, I could change it. Like you say, first the awareness. Yes. And once you become aware of it,
that's the thing that we're looking for in our work, isn't it? We're looking to help you see the reason that you have this feeling is not because of the world, but because you believe something that creates this feeling inside of you.
Absolutely.
And the way to not have this feeling is not to present yourself differently in the world, or become a better person that doesn't present themselves in the world in this way, or to change who you are so that you don't get this thing from the world. The way to get this feeling changed is to notice that that thing that you believe to be true is not true. And to see with such a sense of clarity, I made up a belief system that has dictated my entire life, and I've looked to prove that that belief system is true all this time. And every time I look to prove that it's true, it appears to be true to me, because I blame everyone on it.
Because whatever you believe, the proof of it will come. Whatever you believe is what you will create, is what you will
Everything
experience.
around you looks like proof. And everything that
Yes.
doesn't look like proof, we dismiss it out of hand. We're like, oh no, that doesn't count because it doesn't go with my theory. We're like total science. Science is good. Like I look for that. If it doesn't prove my theory, I dump that experiment and find another one that will prove my theory. So we have to. That's the thing. Is we're going to look for that thing that says, I made that up. And when I see, oh, this is not a rule of life. This is not a rule of society. This is not a truth that holds weight that I can carry around in a wheelbarrow. This is an idea that I made up and have lived my life according to. And the fact that my life doesn't feel good to me is resting on this idea. And the only thing I need to do is understand that this idea is not true and it holds no value. And the moment you understand that everything changes for you, you don't have to be a better person to be more lovable. You just have to understand that this was the thing that created the experience. And then, of course, all of the behavior that got so itchy scratchy with other people is the behavior that rested on this belief. So
Indeed.
you're going to find even the behavior that you have, the way that you approach the world, the energy that you come to the world with, automatically changes as this belief changes. And suddenly people respond to you in a different way. Again, you're not looking for that to be proof of your original belief, so you don't necessarily take it the same way. And they respond differently, and you're just like, wow, that's so interesting. I didn't have to become a better person. I changed the belief, and my behavior, the symptoms of that belief changed automatically, and the way that I saw myself in other people's eyes changed automatically. And then I felt the love inside, the sense of opening,
Exactly.
opening the world, and okay.
And because you've practiced this belief for a very long time, because I mean, this is a habitual mind, the subconscious mind, it learns through habit. So once you become in this awareness of the belief and you have your aha moment and you're in the awareness and you decide to change this belief to one that does serve you, then it takes a bit of practice. That new way of thinking, that new way of being has to become your new habit. It's important that I find that after you've become an awareness, not to go and do the same old behavior and do the same old thinking. Then that's what I call the practice part, because this habitual mind needs to now go and learn a new behavior, and we have to be conscious of that, consciously, continuously. When you think, oh, okay, I'm too big again. Oh, no, that's not the
We've lost you again.
truth anymore.
But there you go.
Yes. So and then I'm just practicing this new way of being, this new way of thinking, and this new way of feeling.
And that, to be honest, is where courage comes from, because you've never done life like that before. And now you've
It's
got to
new
go
territory. New territory.
the way of doing life. And now you've learned something about that it doesn't work. And so you go and you say, okay, well, let me not do it that way. But that takes a bit of courage, because I've never not done it that way. I've always protected myself and showed up in that way. What's going to happen if I don't do it that way? And in that moment, you do have to step into your courage and say, well, let the chips fall. Let me just throw myself out there authentically and see what happens, where things fall.
So that when I see our email address there, it's just Nianell at Nia.
Nianell
The other way around.
The way around, all right. I was going to ask you to just check that. So it's Nianell at
nia.co.za. And then you can also visit my website, nianell.com.
So we've had a wonderful time. I could go on with you forever, but
I did love talking to you.
Everybody's have to listen to two chicks chattering. Anybody out there that would like to know more about what Sonia or myself do, please feel free to contact us on our email or check out our website addresses. Mine obviously is cloud9.co.za and Sonia's nianell.co.za. And you can see all about what we do, and maybe you'd like to work with us. Maybe you'd like to come and see what we're about and have a discovery and see if we can help you on your own journey. Having slogged our way through our journey and gotten to be old throw, we know stuff that can maybe be of purpose and value to you, and we would love to be able to do that for you. From my side, I would just like to let you know that I do a free coaching session every week. Currently, it is on a Wednesday evening at 5:15. Everybody is welcome to join. If you'd like to check it out, it's a group coaching online. So if you'd like to join that, please contact me. I'll put you on my database. Sonia and I will both put our details in the Facebook feed below so that you can have a look at all of the stuff that we've done. Any videos, you can go and check out Sonia's beautiful music. You can check out my YouTube stuff. You can see what else we're up to. We'd love to hear from you. It's been a sweet pleasure connecting with you today. Thank you.
I had lots of fun with you, Angela. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I've obviously visited your beautiful sanctuary, and it's amazing there. And you are amazing. And yes, I love your energy. It's just beautiful. And I think that, you know, you're an awesome coach, teacher, guide to self-love. And I would highly recommend anyone to book a session with you.
Thank you. That's so beautiful. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a beautiful day.